Hey, this is Mr. Everyday, and I want to thank you for tuning into the Next Level Podcast. If you haven't by now, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And please tell a friend to tell a friend. We out here, Past Life Radio, the next level. Let's go. It's your boy, Mr. Everyday.
And it's your girl, Miss E. This is Past Life Radio.
10 years in the making. Let's go.
So what you trying to do, and who you really want to be? Everybody wants a shot to be the top in this industry. So what you trying to do, and who you really want to be? Everybody wants a shot to be the top in this industry. I follow me, never walk in another man's shoes. Fake we good when you know we ain't brothers. I set my goals, aim high. I'm shooting for the sky, and I'm never giving up or quitting till the day I die. Seen a lot
I'm here with Mr. Everyday.
Yes.
Man, I haven't seen you in forever.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. That's because you're busy conquering the world, winning awards and Woman of the Year and all that stuff, you know?
I'm just trying to be like you on these streets.
Oh,
you
man,
know what I'm
listen.
saying? Just trying to catch up because it's been 10 years.
Yeah, you know, 10-year anniversary, man. This is big. This is big stuff right here, man. I think, you know, it wasn't until like I started trying to put the whole Next Level Massacre thing together that I really started processing, you know, what I had really done. Because for me, I'm always like tunnel vision with it. And because my goals are so much loftier and bigger than even that, I never really look at a lot of these things like for what they are. And I've had people tell me, like, as of recently, shout out to Zach Hit and call me on a check-in.
Shout out to Zach.
You know,
Zach, hey, Zach.
and Zach hit me up like, yo, Ev, like, honestly, like, you know what this really means? Like, you know, like for anybody to do anything for 10 years,
right,
consistently, you know what I mean? That means a lot, man. That's like not no small. Like when you look back, he's like, this is you going down in legacy. This is legacy moves right here.
Right.
And so that's when it kind of really hit me. I was like, damn, like, you know, you got a point, because you know how many people get a job and start the job and 1 year later,
exactly,
they're gone. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So
right.
to do anything, 6 months later, right? You said 6 months later.
So
But
what would you say? Like when you first started out, the biggest difference that you see from when you first started out 10 years later in hip hop, in the industry, what type of changes do you think?
So you're talking about just the music business in general?
The music business in general. Because you've been here, you've been playing everything. You know, you give all unsigned artists a chance to shine. You give, you know, whatever genre they are, you know, you definitely show love all around the board. So
you want to know the truth? Like, what I really feel the biggest difference is that the novelty has worn off. There was a time period where just being a part of hip hop was so exclusive.
Right.
Like you just felt it was like an honor and a privilege to even be in the game and to be acknowledged as someone in the game. Then once like grandma started going double platinum with her chicken hip hop song and things like, and not even just that, but just once I feel like it started getting diluted and everybody could do it, then it was like, oh
everybody
no,
wants to be
everybody want to be a rapper. People that got no business being rappers is rappers. Bro, if you don't take your butt to college right now, what are you doing here getting robbed in the club? You wasn't even supposed to be here. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I feel like a lot of people, you know, you've invested a lot in your craft, right? You spend time, you spend money. I feel like the biggest thing for me is a lot of the newer artists, they don't realize that it takes money to make money, right? So you have to invest in your craft. So what are some things that you feel like you're an OG in the game? What are some things that you feel like some of these newer unsigned artists can come in and do to kind of help them to perfect their craft?
To perfect their craft, I think they need to stop doing the 1 hour session. Yo, like calling me up like, yo, I'm trying to book an hour. I'm trying to lay some fire down, bro. I only need an hour. Bro, you need 1 hour 10 more times. You need 10 of those 1 hours. Yeah. And I think what they need to understand is like stop with the cookie cutter, quick. They have a McDonald's approach when it's really more like soul food. And you know, and that's really the biggest problem that I have is that these dudes are looking for the quick gratification, the shortcut to success. And it really isn't. And a lot of times they've been misled and led to believe that these artists that they think took the short route really didn't take the short route.
Right.
You just didn't know all the grind that was going on. You just didn't know what was going on behind the scenes.
Right.
And then also, you didn't know who co-signed them. Like, people think they're going to be Little Baby, but they don't realize, like, he was co-signed by dudes that was already in the game. So they're like, oh yeah, Lil Baby started rapping for 2 weeks, and 2 weeks later he was. It's not what happened, bro.
Yeah, it's all about relationships, right? Yes. Like you have to build relationships in this industry and in entrepreneurship. Like I have to do it. Everybody has to build those type of relationships.
I can't emphasize it.
And you're one of those people that they need to be building these relationships with because you have the mic. Right? So you have the opportunity to put a lot of these people on. So it's been 10 years, honey.
I know.
10
years. And it was a quick 10. It didn't even feel like it was a quick 10. It didn't feel like I did 10 whole years here. Like even when Sony came around.
Like a bit?
Nah, it didn't feel like a bit. Because it's funny because I made a post today. First of all, I don't know if you've seen our flyer. Our flyer's off the chart.
I've seen it.
Shout out to Lexi for the flyer.
Thank you.
My intern Lexi. I'm so sad that this is like winding down her internship. I'm actually gonna have to pay her now.
Lexi cute too, y'all. She be up in the studio looking poppin', honey.
Lexi's it. But so when what I did was I posted on the flyer because it's like now I'm kind of in that nostalgic phase of understanding the moment. See, like I said, I'm so busy always just doing. And I always understand the moment. It's always the same moment for me. A+ attitude. I'm going all out. I'm like anything. A 99 is a failure like that. So that way I know I'm always in the A bracket. But I had time to really start thinking about everything. And so I wrote this post. And in the post I talk about how when I started in 2012, that I literally had to cut this station on. It wasn't a 24-hour format at that time. It was dead air. So I had to come in, cut the station on, do my show, and then cut the station off when I left. Wow. So I literally built this platform from 0 listeners. Wow. And that was in 2012. By 2014, the summer of 2014, Metroland said I was the best radio show in the 518.
Wow.
The best produced radio show in the 518. And I had no idea. Like, all of a sudden, one day, I woke up and I got a text message that said, congratulations. And I was like, this is tripping. What's talking about? Congratulations? What are you talking about? And then all of a sudden, I got another one. Yo, that's really awesome. Congratulations. And I'm like, what is all this congratulations stuff going on? Something that I not know what's going on? And then I got another one that finally, I seen one pop up and it says, and it's from the radio station. And it was to everybody at the station congratulating, like shout out to Mr. Everyday for being voted the best radio show in the 518. I was like, what?
That's so crazy. And
is this true?
And then you had the first ever WCDB 90.9 FM hip hop artist of the year.
Yeah, I was nominated for hip hop artist first ever.
Crazy.
And so it was like, when I look at these milestones, then I start thinking like, wow, yeah, man, this really is kind of powerful what I'm doing, and it'll be something that maybe I won't really embellish on as much, but years from now, when people look back, they'll be like, yo, Mr. Everyday was that guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he created a lot of lanes and a lot of opportunities. Because for me, I'm selfless in my drive to promote this region. Even though I'm not originally born for the 518, I'm from Harlem, New York. But I consider myself a hybrid because I spent time living in both areas so much. Like I came to school up here and then I moved back to New York and then I came back again as I was older. And so for me, I have an equal amount of love for this community because of what I was able to gain escaping New York when I did. Because had I not left New York when I did, I don't even know if I would be the same person I am today. I don't even know if I would have the same level of love in my heart because of how hard the city can make you. And experiences down there, and, it can really like change your thought process. So I really honestly have had the best of both worlds in the sense of being able to get the real gritty of New York and the opportunities that come with being in an environment such as New York City where there's countless recording studios, countless clubs, countless radio stations, countless DJs, but then also having being able to have the solitude. Because one thing that New York does is it makes you so scatterbrained that you can literally lose focus. Yeah. I was able to come upstate and focus myself and really like consolidate, save my money and really build. Like I built all my LLCs here. I could never run businesses in New York at that time. Like it was just a money grab all the time. Like if I make $1,000 a week, I get $800 in tickets and parking tickets. Wow. Like, you know what I mean? It was like I could never
That
You know what I
brings
mean?
me to my next question. Like, what are some of the challenges that you face when putting this whole thing together?
Well, as far as in terms of the Next Level podcast, or in terms of the radio station as a whole?
In terms of the radio station, you said you started from just turning it on.
Dead air. So it was like what I had to really do was I had to become a master marketeer, and I had to embrace social media in a way that I never wanted to. Like, artists truly believe that they don't have to use social media. They are mistaken. You will not be successful in this game if you're not utilizing social media. Because had I had social media when I was younger, I would have been a millionaire years ago. Many years ago. Because YouTube, I tell people all the time, my guy, YouTube is a television network, my guy. Right. That's literally a television network.
Social media makes it so much easier than from the people that had to start from really the bottom with no social media, out of the back of their trunk, just pushing CDs, right?
Right. So I kind of like building this platform. Social media wasn't really at its height yet.
Right.
We were just
it
was in the early stages of it.
Yeah.
So I was still kind of learning and trying to like make my way. Now it's like I couldn't even imagine doing my show without it, because the game is so saturated. So building the station up was really about consistency, because you have to be consistent. Because what I realized is that some people get mad because when you don't tap in, like, oh, there ain't nobody tapped in. No, I always say, and I say this to Defiant Aura, shout out to Defiant Aura, my business partner, build it and they will come. Man. So what I kept doing was placing brick after brick after brick. So every week I was here, there'd be certain people that would be like, damn, he's still here. Oh, he back again. And you might not tap in this week, but you'll tap in next week. And then you'll tell your mans about me. And then so I just started building person at a time, tapping people in, having call-ins. I started having people call in the show. That was another thing. I started making it more interactive. I started understanding the importance of speaking to the audience as if they are my friend, and speaking to them on a one-on-one relationship. I developed a one-on-one relationship with my audience. And I am always speaking to you.
That's important for people to feel heard.
Yeah, to feel heard.
Like
and
have somewhere to call.
Absolutely. I allowed them to share my platform. And then I started noticing people wanting to call in all the time. You know what I mean? And tapping in. My regulars. And then I started, and always shouting out my regulars. Yeah. Always letting them know I love you and I appreciate you, because I do.
Right.
You know what I mean? I appreciate you tapping in with me. Like, I had a dude that would go on vacations. He's like, yo, I'm in Aruba, in a boat, with me and my girl on a yacht listening to you right now. Like, he would stream me no matter what, religiously, every week. And so I started almost in a way doing it like just for them. Like, I was like when I got tired and I just didn't want to come in, or I didn't want to do it, I would always think about, like, I would get a message from somebody like, yo, I'm looking forward to hearing your show this week. So I was like, damn, I can't let them down. And if it was just that one person, because, my Uncle OJ, rest in peace, he's the reason why I'm here. He did, he was on radio for 17 years. He had one of the best radio voices, bar none. He had the Barry White, deep, like the real deep, sexy, sultry voice. And he did a jazz show. He did a jazz show called The Maiden Voyage. But he was the one, I was his production assistant for his show. And he taught me a lot. And he gave me a bunch of drops before he left. And one of his drops is called The Power of Radio. And he talks about how, like, the one thing about radio is there's always somebody listening. And all it takes is the right person to be listening to your show for an opportunity to happen. Like, it could be them telling me, hey, listen, we're gonna give you, we out here in Seattle and we want you to be our on-air personality. So I always felt like no matter what, I always needed to understand that there's somewhere out there, that there's somebody who I'm making their day, or I'm inspiring them, and I'm changing their life. I'm giving them inspiration. I'm giving them hope. Plus, I noticed, like, with my team, even, shout out to Past Life Entertainment. Shout out to Soul Hood in the building.
Yes, speaking of your team.
My team's in I'm light. We're on post-COVID protocol right now. We're a light team. Normally, I'm in here with like 14 members. Behind Miss E was like, I got you, Miss E. So I'm here with
protocol.
I'm here with P Gutter and my boy Soul Hood and Elias and Lexi in the building. I'm right. I'm always rolling with two videographers. But the one thing that I realized is that when there was downtime and we were struggling as a unit per se, and opportunities and things weren't happening, there was always the show. And what I was able to do, having the ability to play my own artist music, and not just play it, but in the mix of some of the greatest artists ever in the game, I'm mixing my artist music in there. It's very inspiring. And they're hearing it and they're able to have people tap in. And they're like, yo, that's your record. And it not sound like some fake radio show. Like my show is the real deal. Like I could be on Hot 99. I could be on any major radio station. I've been in radio for 15 years, just 10 years here. I did 5 years in New York City. And the heart of this, like we're like breaking some of the most influential hip hop artists of all time. I was there as a young dude breaking those records, a part of the Dirty Dozen. That was my original crew. You know what I mean? And we came on like, you know, when we talking about like in the heyday of hip hop, like Biggie Small's first album type stuff, we were breaking records.
Yeah.
So
I want to get back to that though. Like I want to get back to like talking about some of your early beginnings and stuff. I don't know. Do you want to put on a little music first? Give them a little break, and then
I'm gonna wait. We'll come back to that because I want to debut my single, The Next Level, as well.
Okay, all right.
So,
we got a new single.
Yeah.
What?
My single drops at midnight.
Tonight.
Okay. My single drops at midnight.
All right.
Elias, did you put a post up, man? You're supposed to be when we get back to the lab. We got to post that the singles dropping tonight.
New single tonight
New single,
on the 10-year anniversary.
Yes.
That's big.
Yeah.
That's big.
You know how I do it. Everything.
I know.
I vision. You know? Gotta have vision.
Okay.
You know?
All right. So you want to keep going?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So the next question that I have for you, like I want to talk a little bit about. You mentioned that you're from Harlem.
Yes,
okay,
Harlem stand up.
You know, let's
West
see.
Harlem.
The niggas in Harlem. I'll talk to you about that later. Girl, but like I'm saying, you from Harlem.
Yes.
That's, I'll be loving on some
Mystique.
Harlem people. Yeah. So early childhood, you grew up, civil rights movement. Your father marched with MLK. Tell me a little bit about that and how that influenced you as a person and how it made you a better artist.
Absolutely. So my father is a master drummer. Rest in peace. Biological father, Adenola, is a master drummer, along with my godfather, Gil Scott Heron, who's a legend in the game. And we're talking about 20 albums. We're talking about multiple books of poetry, countless sample, like half the industry sampled, even Drake. I mean, half the industry. Like if you interview Eminem right now, he'll tell you about my pops and my godfather. So they were the first artists signed to Arista Records by Clive Davis. Clive Davis is one of the biggest moguls, OG moguls ever in history. He's the reason for Alicia Keys. He's the reason for the whole Bad Boy label. He's the reason for the whole Outkast Dungeon Family movement. We're talking about Whitney Houston. Like he signed my father and then Whitney Houston. So to get more back to the civil rights aspect, back in that era.
We gotta let that marinate for a second. You said Whitney Houston.
Yeah, my pops was signed first.
Let that sizzle in your spirit for a second. Okay, all right, go ahead.
So, what people don't understand is that hip hop is really a revolutionary music. And it was never commercial. It was oppressed. It was a voice for oppressed people that didn't have a voice. And so when we go back to the civil rights, that's what civil rights was about. It was about, as a people, us not really getting the rights that we deserve, not being able to eat in certain places, not being able to sit in the front of the bus, not being able to drink from certain water fountains or use bathrooms. And so, so the music was derived from that time and that energy. And it was more unity because if we didn't unite, we would just literally get destroyed and eliminated. So we had no choice but to unite. So my pops at that time was involved with an organization called CORE. There was like the Black Panther Party. There was CORE. And there was all these different individual groups that worked together. Black Panthers obviously being the more radical side of it. My pops was a part of the peaceful protesting side of it. Okay. But they still sat down with those individuals. Like people don't know, like Tupac's father, Matul Shakur, sat in our living room as kids talking to my pops. So they used to have debates about how they should go about things. My pops would be more like, we need to watch the thing. And he's like, no, we're ready to get the gat and go crazy. So it's beyond talking. It's beyond.
That was talk.
That was living room talk. Yeah, that was living talk. So him being a part of this organization, he really was about not.
We don't promote getting the gat and going crazy. Okay?
Right. Absolutely. We don't condone that. No one of the constituents of WCDB 90.9 FM or Passion Radio
these are not
any of these views. So, but so his thing was really like more of a non-violence, more cerebral. He was very cerebral. So, he marched on Washington with Martin Luther King, and he was a part of that whole move. He used to, they used to do peaceful protests and sit down and stop traffic from moving and all that stuff. So I grew up in a very like radicalized, conscious, very deep home, and the music was a big part of it. Like Abi O'Doon, Oyewole from the Last Poets. Like I used to be in these serious focus groups, these poetry groups. So I'm really cut from the spoken word poetry cloth. I'm a true poet. And then from spoken word was born hip hop, which is why my pops is known as the Godfather. Come on, Five. You know I'm on air.
Listen.
Yo, Five, I'm on air right now, man. I'm in the middle of an interview right now, bro.
We on air,
come on, man. PastLifeRadio@gmail. Email me the tracks, God.
Stop it, Five.
Right.
But so it was like, being a part of that and watching. And so I was saying, like, Gil's considered the godfather of rap, or godfather of rap. So he was the first one to get a deal with poetry and music. And then everything else started to spawn from that. Like when hip hop and everything like that spawned from that. So he's looked at as like the forefather who laid the original groundwork. And so my biological father and Gil, my godfather, they recorded like 5, 6, 7 albums together. And then eventually my pops moved more into education. And he still did music and stuff, but he leveled up. He got his master's, he got his PhD, like his master's from Columbia, PhD from Albany, and then that's when he moved me up here to get me out the streets and stuff. Really, just to direct me immediately out the streets, like immediately. No, you know what I'm saying? You're not going nowhere near these streets.
Yeah.
So so music was always second nature to me. Like I played multiple percussion instruments, congas, djembes, bongos, bells. I play all different types of bells. You know what I mean? So I always grew up in poetry, and then eventually I went into breakdancing, and that was my thing. Then when I moved upstate and went to school up here, I got with a breakdance crew. You know what I mean? So then I just
show me some of them moves.
Yeah, I can still backspin.
If you want me to believe it,
I can do it.
I can do it. Okay,
I can do it.
I believe it.
I'll make a YouTube of it.
Okay.
Maybe Friday night. Wow.
Friday night. Okay. Yes, we need to hold him to that. He need to break dance tomorrow night. Honey. Now, you were talking about Gil Scott. He was just inducted into the 2021 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
With the class of Jay-Z.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about that. Like, how does that feel to have your people?
So, I'm not going to lie. Like, it's an honor, like, to even be discussed in the likeness of him. Because, like, he didn't have any biological sons. And so he considered me his son. Even though he didn't birth me. Like, I'm literally like if you go back to RCA, which was the company that was that was distributing his stuff, BMG and all that. There's like which I found recently because it's on eBay as well. Like my picture's being sold on eBay. I didn't even know that.
Wow.
But he's holding me at 3 years old with my first set of traps, because I had drum traps when I was 3 already. I was going in, and so there's a famous picture of me holding these drumsticks sitting in his lap, and that was their PR photo.
Wow.
That was on their tours, on on everything, on their merch, on everything. So that was a famous picture. Like if you went into any of the group members' homes, that was on their wall, big life-size poster of me as a kid. So I was a celebrity kid from a young age before I was even really talking. Like I didn't even know that I was famous already. And as I got older, I started to even think back. I started having flashbacks. Like I was on tour since I was 3. Like my first tour was with Stevie Wonder. You know what I'm saying? So there was a lot of history. So I grew up in a lot of that. So to be like connected to that. So now what's happening is that because he's no longer here, they're trying to grasp that energy and that. So they're having me come out to receive awards. Like I've received awards on his behalf. They've given me awards. Like I received a Lifetime Achievement Award in 2014. I was on the cover of Mafia magazine. Actually, I was in the cover of Mafia magazine. On the cover was Fred the Godson. Shout out to Fred the Godson.
Shout out to Fred the Godson.
But I was on like countless things. And just recently they asked me to come give a speech at, they named a park after him in St. Mary's. The Gil Scott Heron. It's a cathedral. And where like you come and play on, what's the amphitheater in the Bronx. St. Anne's Park in the Bronx. And so I went there and I gave this like super powerful speech. Like it was a story that I basically decided to share with the world. And it was really like about my relationship with him and the things that he taught me and I decided that I was gonna read that for the induction of the park. And so I had my boy Elias come out. We drove all the way down to the Bronx with no moment's notice. It was like so much going on that weekend, and it was just like I gotta be there. And so we wound up going down, and you know, I gave this really powerful speech about his life, and even like family members were like, I didn't even know that. Like true story, I didn't know that. Like I didn't know that he did that. I didn't know that he like I'm in the liner notes of books dedicated to me, because they called me Faith Child back then. So he used to call me Faith, you know what I'm saying? And it was like, it was just a really strong connection that I had with him that I now cherish more than ever, because the legacy is just so powerful. Like when you think about like something that was like the first of anything, like to say like, that's why when dudes be out here talking to me, I'm like, they don't even like, I don't beat my chest. I don't be like, oh, I'm this, I'm that. Like there was a situation recently where somebody was saying like they're the most distant of 518, and I'm like, arguably. You should have said arguably. You know what I mean?
Yo,
because
you're funny.
because before, you know what I'm saying?
Arguably.
Right. Because like I might have more credentials than some of the people that I would defer to that honor. Like one of the men sitting right next to me.
Hold on. Speaking of credentials,
yes.
I hear something about you running a division of Sony. Like, what's up with that? Like,
so I decided that I wasn't gonna really like, when it first happened, I'm not really like, I feel like sometimes you, like, in order to like bring things to full fruition, you don't really want to discuss certain things too soon.
Right.
And because at the time that it was happening, the ink wasn't dry on the contracts, and there were still things that I needed to do, I kind of felt like, you know what, I'm not going to announce that this is happening yet. And then even when it happened, I didn't feel like I needed to announce it.
Right.
You know? And then, you know, because I'm a silent assassin. I'll kill you quietly.
That's
in the middle of the night.
how you supposed to be.
Like a ghost. Like, it was just it was a mist. It was a ghost that came in here. We don't even know what it was.
Not a mist. It was a mist.
It was a mist.
It was a warm,
it was a
stormy
mist.
night.
You know it was dark. You know it was dark. That's all we got. You know it was dark. That's all we got. But so you know, so when that whole situation happened, which was really like a blessing, because I had my first deal, well, not my first deal, but my first distribution deal with my company Past Life Entertainment was through a division of Sony. And it was a division that was grandfathered in to a label called The Orchard. Now The Orchard, if you don't know, is one of the first digital distributors. Before that was fashionable. Right. When we were still doing physical format, they were doing digital. And then they were ahead of the curve. So by the time everybody else caught up, they were already light years ahead. So Sony, being a company that they are, they came in and bought half of it. And then I think it was around 2014, 2015, they bought the other half. Fortunately for me, I was affiliated with the imprint before they bought it out.
Okay.
And then because of the work that I was doing, because I looked up, like I had an executive who I was working with who was getting older in the game, and he was over the whole, like he wasn't really feeling the digital wave at all. And because he had been a DJ, you know, for years out in Houston, Texas, and you know, he did it. Now he's in Manhattan. He run a marketing company. He's making money. He owns nightclubs now and all this stuff. So he was just like, you know what? I'm over the music. I'm not feeling the music like that no more. And so I was fortunate that at the time that I got my deal, which never really happens, he gave me his password and access to his back office.
Jeez.
You understand how serious that is? Yeah,
that's crazy.
So he let me work my whole project. He let me upload, do my artwork, everything. So I learned it. And then it got to a point where, you know, I'm not the type of person, I'm very hands-on. So I kept just like staying in touch with him, like respectfully, like making sure, and then, cause I'm like, yo, he gave me his password, like he didn't change his name, he didn't change, like I have it all. And then finally, he made a decision that he wanted to move in a different direction and just get heavy with the nightclubs. So he gifted me the label.
Wow.
He gifted me his imprint.
That's crazy. Nice.
And so now I'm running a whole division in Sony Orchard.
That's what's up.
And
so where do the people that roll with you, where do they fit in all of that?
So, all right, so first and foremost, I have 40 artists that are currently, that I'm overseeing their projects. 40.
That's a lot.
That has nothing to do with even my organization. So I'm facilitating, I'm doing their back office stuff, and I'm getting residuals off of everything. You know what I'm saying?
That's smart business.
Yep. So what I did was I looked at my team like,
But listen, people. He said residuals, which means that you have to make a little money in order for somebody to see some residuals.
Yeah.
So that means your people is making a little change.
Yeah. I'll pretty much be making money for the rest of my life, whether I do anything or not.
That's what's up.
So,
and that's because the work that you put in with your team. So a strong team is definitely needed.
Absolutely. So what I started doing is I started leveling up in the Sony system because now they're evolving. Now Sony's like literally putting their full imprint, like, because what they did was they didn't want to change the name because the Orchard had built up such a strong name. Right. So they were like, nah, we're gonna let y'all rock with the Orchard. But all the personnel and the how, where it's going and everything, it's all Sony. So I started like I was like, listen, this is a great opportunity. Like some people would have just been happy being able to put their people on, but I started seeing the bigger picture of learning the business more side of it and really becoming a true exec. People don't realize there's two sides of this business. There's the artist side and then there's the executive side. And the more you understand the other side, the better you can facilitate your career because you need to understand what you need to be giving them to help you. A lot of times artists think they're doing their job and they're not even close to doing their job for what they need to be doing and understanding. So what this position has allowed me to do is to now start tapping in to the higher level execs that are now respecting that I'm putting this work in, I'm doing these numbers, I'm doing these campaigns. Like I got another artist, Amanda Holly, that people don't know about because they're not from the West Coast, but she's blowing up on the West Coast right now. I'm interviewing her next week on the show, just on on the call-in. But right off the gate, she shot right out with like 10,000 streams, like the first couple of days, like right off the gate with no promotion. Wow. You know what I mean? So, but we're working the analytics, and so that's the thing. So what I'm trying to do now is transfer that to my artists here in the 518 and level them up.
No, you got a dope team. I walk in here and I see Pete Gutter with a whole article.
Oh yeah,
and like he just
come on, we ain't playing out here.
Big things.
We Fubu brand ambassadors. We Fubu brand ambassadors.
What is that? Times Union?
Yeah, that's the Times Union. That's the arts section of the Times. That's a big spread right there. That's a big picture.
It's a whole page.
His picture alone is bigger than most people's article space.
It's a whole page.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Let's hold that up for the camera.
Yes.
They gotta really see that.
Yeah, hold that up.
They gotta see that.
Shout to DJ Do on the check-in, man. Shout to
the shine. I like that. That's super dope.
And photo credits to the photography right here.
Photo credits to my boy Elias. Who goes everywhere with me when we travel and everything.
Yes.
And but yeah, like we got the Fubu situation.
Hit up Elias. Hit up every day. He'll hit you up. He'll get you in touch with Elias.
Absolutely.
But make sure you check out that article, P. Gutter's article. When did that come out?
It was like two Sundays.
What's the date?
Sunday before last.
So,
okay, you can look it up online.
April 24th it came out.
April 24th, P. Gutter.
But it's on their website right now.
If you go on the website, you'll see it on the website right now, the Times Union, probably timesunion.com.
Yup, go to timesunion.com. It's on the website.
But yeah, we're doing a lot of things. Like my press rollout is getting ready to start. Like I see one thing about me, I don't step on my artist's toes.
Yeah.
Like when it's time, I push the button on my artist, and not everybody could do that. Like that's most artists are like egotistical and they so full of themselves they really can't manage anybody else.
Right.
But I know how to get out the way and let my guys get the shine that they need. And I'm never gonna like overshadow them. What I'm gonna do is just push them up another level. Like for instance, when I did
what a good manager does.
Absolutely. When I first did Plug Me in Volume 1, which is my debut album, you can get that on every platform. Plug Me in Mr. Everyday in the Past Life, Mr. Space Every Space Day, and the Past Life is 2 words. But the project is called Plug Me in Volume 1. So when I first had my first deal with Sony, I was like, they wanted me to drop my stuff. And the crazy thing is, I got that deal off the scrim. I got that deal before I had even put out any music. Like the executive that signed me, he signed me off the strength of my conversation.
Wow.
It wasn't even a musical transference at all. He just knew what I did.
That's back to it's who you know. You have to kiss a couple babies and rub.
He respected
rub
me.
A little something.
He respected me. He knew I was. The views of Miss E are not any of the views of Mr. Everyday or any of his constituents.
I mean, I might.
Radio,
I'm joking. Sometimes you do. Like you definitely. It's all about relationships, and not only in this business, but in entrepreneurship as well. You have multiple businesses.
Absolutely.
And that's something that you take away from this is if you're listening now It's not about how much money you have. It's not about it's not even about your product, honestly. Right. You could have a sucky behind product, but you know somebody,
Absolutely.
Right? And that's where okay, go ahead.
So now, but that was very valid what you said. So basically, like, you know, he believed in me. He had sort of work that I had did with other artists. And I just told him, like, yo, I got some heat. And he believed me. And then I sent him the record and blew him away. And it wasn't even the record that wound up going on the album. I still have the record that I did. And it actually wasn't even it was a verse I spit. Shout out to Sassy. I have a record called Lost My Mind because I'm putting out a project called Hits with Chicks Volume 1. I have a whole series that I'm going to be doing with
Hits with Chicks Volume 1.
Yeah, Hits with Chicks. Hits with Chicks. I'm going to keep doing Volume 1, Volume 2
and
like that.
all female.
Yeah, all female. Just me and all females. That's the only features on there is going to be me and females.
Now what inspired that?
Well, I mean, just my love for the female persuasion and the respect that I have for what, you know.
You was rubbing some things? No.
You know, but yeah, you know, like I love, like, you know, I was raised by women first and foremost. Like I have a strong female background in my family. Like, you know, when my dad was on the road a lot, it was really like my sister that raised me. You know, my mom's, my grandmother, and then like when we moved up here, it was really just me, my sister, and my pops, and she like really always had nothing but women around me. And so I kind of learned a lot of things, like, you know, so I understand how to move when I'm around women, with women, and I know how to take, I've taken a lot of the jewels that women have and I've implemented into my lifestyle, my strategy and everything. So Hits with Chicks Volume 1 is absolutely because women make the world go round.
Absolutely.
And that there is no stronger algorithm than the female algorithm.
Amen.
So
talk to
you know,
him. Talk to him.
So you know, so for me it was like, yeah, this is gonna be my next wave. You know what I mean? I'm definitely gonna do this. So I did this one record with this female artist, and I wound up, and at that time it was like I had been managing so many artists for so long that a lot of people didn't even really know I spit or that I rhyme. And so I'll never forget, like, my artists were like kind of like clowning me. Like, I remember even, I'm sorry, Gian, but I'm gonna do it. So Gian Life had the audacity.
Oh, not the audacity.
The audacity to question whether or not I was worthy to be featured on his record that I was helping to produce.
Oh, okay.
I'm over here doing the most for you. And I am not, and I can't even hold him. He had never really heard me. So, you know, and one thing I respect about Gian is that he's like hardcore with his music. Like, he will not let nobody defame, bring the level down. I don't care. Like, Jesus, he was like, listen now, Jesus, if you can't rhyme, if you can't drop this hot 16, Jesus, I'm sorry, this ain't gonna happen.
Don't be throwing
you know what I'm saying?
like that.
But that's how serious he is about it. He wouldn't let Jesus get on his verse if he didn't think Jesus had the bars. Jesus would have had to spit that 16 and then Jesus would have been
might
featured.
be struck down, but
you know what I mean? He might be struck down.
You're going to hell.
You're going to hell, but you're going to have a hot 16.
This album is
you're going to
fire,
hell with a hot
literally.
16.
You're going to hell with your hot ass album. It's fire, but
So no, but no, I'm joking, of course. But he really was like questioning whether I was valid enough to get on his thing. And then it was that statement along with something that 5 Footers artist said to me. And I'm not going to say his artist name because I can't talk about him the way I talk about my artists. These are my artists. I can talk about them. But one of his artists, it was supposed to be a feature with 5, the host of the year, my artist at that time, Mellow Messiah, and this artist and me. So he's like, and 5 know my pedigree. He already know my track record. So he's like, hey, bro, I'm gonna get you on this record. I'm trying to have you on this record. And he winds up saying, yo, every day, yo, you sure you ready for this, fam? Okay. Like, you know, this the big leagues, my God. Like, it's the bigs. You sure you ready for this? I look, and I didn't even respond. I couldn't even respond. I was so flabbergasted and so appalled. And then, so finally, the final straw was when Gian said, in my studio that I own, along with my partner, Fire Aura, that I pay every bill in, am I worthy to be on his track? So let me tell you something. When I tell you I put the flames down in this verse, I put the flames on this verse. I even said, when you enter my cipher, you properly greet. Like I went in so hard that when he heard the verse, he almost choked on his own saliva. He couldn't even believe it was that bad. He was like, Ev, I'll never doubt. I'm ashamed of myself. I am ashamed that I didn't understand. And I said, listen, bro, I can't hold you because you never heard me do it. You never had any references. You just thought I was this guy that was sitting here giving you this worldly knowledge. You know, he didn't know the Gil situation. He didn't know nothing. He just was trying to do his thing, and I couldn't hold him on that. But needless to say, nobody's questioning my features now.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't know that it was about to be 10 years.
No, he know what was going to happen. He never knew what was going to happen.
As great as you are, tell me a little bit about, is there anyone that you aspire to be like or who inspires you?
You know, there was a time period when I shied away from the legacy of Gil. Now I fully embrace it. So if anybody I aspire to be like, it's him. You know, he's the pedigree. He's the total blueprint of what an artist should be. You know, from a poetical standpoint, he was a pianist, he was a singer, he was a consummate writer, he was an orator, and not only that, he was a comedian. And what goes understated is that I could do stand up. That honestly could have been my calling. Really? Because I got jokes for days. I got jokes for days. I got jokes for days.
I've been trying to have jokes for days, but I don't know. I be trying to have. I be having to pull myself.
No, I got comedy all day long. So now we can.
Okay.
I got comedy all day long.
So next time I'm here, we're gonna do a little set.
Yeah, I got comedy all day long, and a lot of people like to be in my presence because I'm very entertaining. And the stories that I tell, I personify them. I always bring them to life. Like people always tell me, like, bro, I can see your conversation. Like I can visualize what you're saying.
You know what? So, I'm done.
It's the vision.
I can see your conversation.
I can see your conversation.
See your vision.
I saw the train go by right now. It just ran across my. It tore my shoelace off. Jesus.
Speaking of that, you know, you said you're a comedian. You got them hot bars.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about your inspiration for all of this stuff.
Well, you know, like I said, Gil was a big part of my inspiration, but now it's like I went through a phase where I got bored with hip hop. Like it was really just very lame to me after a while. And I think like what satisfied that was being able to do radio because I got to play what I wanted to play. And I got to pay homage to the old school because when I started this show, there was a void in hip hop. I mean, excuse me, not a void in hip hop, but a void in the region per se. And there was like, even P said to me that a few, I don't know, it was about maybe a month or two ago, where I was playing like Here Comes the Lords or something. And he was like, you might be the only radio station in the world playing this right now. Like, definitely in the 518. Definitely. And so it's like this, and then blazing. And then what makes me feel good is that I've had a lot of young artists tap in with me like, yo, what were you playing? What record was that? Like I was playing Naughty by Nature, Yoko
Isn't
Joker.
That so dope?
And now they're going back and a lot of them, and then because I do my playlist, my playlist, right?
Yeah.
So I've had a number of
I'm
people.
I'm an 80s baby, so like just even like hearing my son or when he hears something that I used to get, you know, like pop, like I used to be popping to back in the day, he'd be like, oh, who that? I'd be like, what you mean?
What you mean that? I hate to put Lexi on blast, but I asked her who A Tribe Called Quest was, and it was crickets.
No, Lexi, no.
So now Lexi doesn't know. Lexi doesn't know. She thinks she signed a normal contract, but at the end of the contract, there's a clause that states that she must listen to 8 hours of A Tribe Called Quest to complete her internship.
I'm here for
So Lexi, I'm sorry,
I mean,
but
it should be a requirement.
you can't even graduate tomorrow. I called your professor. You've got to get up at 7 a.m. and listen to A Tribe Called Quest Greatest Hits before they give you a diploma.
Shout out to Lexi because she graduating tomorrow, y'all.
She's the best. Actually, Saturday.
Oh, okay, today's Thursday.
Tomorrow,
Saturday.
she'll be at the Next Level Massacre at 388 Broadway.
Yes. Let's give it up for Lexi. That's a huge accomplishment. So, you know, all around your team is doing big things. Lexi graduating, Pete Gutter in the Times Union.
Yes.
You know, y'all just doing all types of stuff. You know, I'm just trying to keep up with y'all.
Yes.
So, how do you define success? Tell me that.
Success to me is anytime you're hitting goals.
Okay.
And there's different levels of success.
Right.
But anytime you're consistently moving forward in a positive direction, that's success. And that's what I was saying about this show. Like me doing this show is success. Whether or not
for 10 years.
for 10 years.
10 years.
You know,
It's a successful show.
It's
Right.
a successful show. You know,
Had to be.
and I've
Figure
broken
that
a
out.
lot of records. I've inspired a lot of artists. I've kept certain artists in rotations. I've even been discovered. Jimmy Fallon discovered me on this show.
Wow.
True story.
Jimmy Fallon, that's a true story. I have all the
That's
receipts.
crazy.
I was
I
invited
love
on the
Jimmy
Tonight
Fallon.
Show. Unfortunately, due to political situations, I never made it to the show,
Mm-hmm.
but I was invited on the show. And I was supposed to go on the show, and maybe I made a mistake because I would have made it on the show when Jimmy was absent, but I didn't want to go on the show without Jimmy being the host.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and then after that, the person who was trying to put me on wound up getting removed from the show, and everybody that she was attached to got removed with it. So I was supposed to go, and I waited because the other option was, well, you can go on the show that Jay-Z and Kanye are going to be on. So it was a no-brainer for me. It was a no-brainer for me. Like, yeah, I'm gonna.
I don't want to be on that.
Go on the show that Jimmy Fallon.
Beneath
Go on
me.
the show that Jimmy Fallon isn't going to be hosting,
Right.
where there's a guy who I really don't know, or some
Yeah.
lady I don't know, or wait for the Jay-Z Kanye show.
Yeah.
I think I'll wait.
Yeah,
I think I'll wait.
Don't
So
worry,
you know,
I will
so you know, and what a lot of people don't know is that Jimmy Fallon came undercover to see me perform at Large Fest in 2017
I was there.
in a Fat Man suit,
Oh my
and nobody knew he was there.
Not the fact.
And we were trying to figure out like who was
At the
this?
Large Fest.
Who was
And
it?
he-
He was in a Fat Man suit. You know, Jimmy's a consummate comedian, so you know he didn't want to be swamped. But he came, and how we knew was they emailed us like, "Yo, Jimmy really loved your performance." Actually, to my manager, shout to Defiant, because honestly, none of that would have happened without her. And they were like, we were like, Jimmy Fallon loved our performance. What are you talking about? Oh yeah, he was there. He was undercover. And we're like, you know that guy that you guys were asking, who's that fat guy walking around? Yeah, that was Jimmy.
Oh my god, that's too funny.
So yeah, so you know, so when I say like, you know, there's always somebody listening. This is what there's literally somebody listening. You know, shout out to Steve Marley, Bob Marley's son, who tunes in. He might be listening now. He was just tuned in last week. He tunes in during, he's caught my show in the week on syndication when it was syndicated during the week. He was like, yeah, you know, I caught Ev's show this week. I didn't know he was on Tuesdays. And I'm like, I didn't either. Like, it's like, well, thank you, Mr. Marley. Thank you, Stephen Marley, for letting us know that I'm on Tuesdays too. Like, you know, so it was like, yeah, so, you know, there's always somebody listening, and you know, he loves our station. He loves WCDB because it's a vibe that he can't get on commercial radio.
Right.
You know,
It's definitely a vibe.
We're
So-
unique. We're non-top 40.
What are some of the things that drives you to be consistent and to continue doing this after all this time?
So yeah, that makes me, going back to what I was saying, I lost my inspiration for a while, and I kind of was in autopilot. I really was. Like, I was just coming in. I don't know if you remember the commercial back in the day with Dunkin' Donuts, where the guy used to wake up every day like, I made the donuts at 5 a.m. Time to make the donuts.
Yep.
I made the donuts. I started feeling like that. You know, I started feeling like, this is kind of like I'm bored now. I'm really. Shout out to Defiant. She's on the phone with
Shout out to
Stephen Marley right now.
Defiant.
She's on the phone with
Hey,
Stephen Marley right now.
You spoke him right up.
And so I kind of felt like, you know, I was getting bored, and I was just and it was after I had already been voted the best show, and then I felt like I kind of was like just living off my laurels. So I kind of like, I took a month off, and I just was kind of like then mailing it in, you know, and I had to find myself again. I had to find my inspiration again. And I sat back, and I think it was at that point, and I think that was about the time, like right before the whole album situation happened, and the Sony situation happened, and the brand ambassadorship with Hennessy happened. It was like I had to find myself again, and I just like, nah, you know what? Ev, it's important. Like, you're important. Like, you mean more than you think you do. Because whenever I didn't think I meant something, somebody would email me random.
Oh.
Somebody just recently emailed me, and they've been emailing me, telling me like how much they enjoy. Shout out to William, telling me how much they enjoy listening to my show and how they always tapped in. And there was other people, like I had somebody contact me from Egypt.
Wow.
And they told me they were tapped in from Cairo. And I was like, Cairo, New York? Because there's a Cairo,
Right,
New York.
yeah.
And he was like, no, Cairo, Egypt. What do you mean, New York? I'm like,
Like, there's another guy.
right, there's another Cairo.
Egypt was
You know,
the only one.
right.
Wow.
So I was like, wow, really? And he was like, yeah, I listen to your show every week. And it's like, it's amazing. I love it. Like, I literally set my alarm to listen to your show. So then I started understanding like my importance of what it meant, even not just to me, but to other people's. So it re-inspired me. And then, you know, when the pandemic hit and we wasn't even allowed to come in.
That had to break you down.
Yeah, wasn't allowed to come in. And then I said, when I get back in, I'm coming in with vengeance. I'm going
that
in.
gave you your passion back.
And so remember, 2019.
You gotta step away for a little bit to realize, how much you love something.
Yep, it made me realize it. And plus, it was the only thing that was going on. Like when I was allowed to come back in, everybody else was still not outside yet.
Okay.
So then that built my audience even more.
Right.
Everybody sitting still.
Because everybody was sitting still. So when I go live, all eyes was on me. Ev's out. We ain't even out. So so that was a big thing. And then it just brought me back. And then all my artists and everybody just started leveling up and taking their careers more seriously. And then it was just like, nah, we all lit now. Let's go. And like P started leveling up even more and things like, I'll never forget him telling me like, I refuse to be denied. I refuse to be denied. Like, this is the year we kicked the door in. This is the year we kicked the door in. And it inspired me. So like me and P is like a 1-2 punch when it comes to the game. Like, we did Atlanta dirty. Yeah, like we was in Atlanta as two of the hottest things moving, and we wasn't even from Atlanta.
That's so crazy.
We took over Clubhouse.
We ain't even from
you remember the app Clubhouse?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So we were a part of.
I'm on there all the time.
We were a part of
trying to learn something. Right.
We were a part of a room called the Industry Connect, where it was like literally like the leading room in Clubhouse was this room.
It was the biggest room.
It was the biggest room in Clubhouse, and it was celebrities tapping in every single day. Mm-hmm. Not to mention their moderators were all celebs. Mm-hmm. So there was a new celebrity tapping in all the time. Me and P, and this was a room that like it took me, I want to say like a week to speak. To be able to speak. It took me a week. People were waiting in line, like 10 racks of people online waiting, and it was 24 hours. And you were still waiting. But I finally cracked the algorithm. Mm-hmm. And the algorithm was to log in at a certain time. Because it would skip you over everybody that was waiting. So P was first to crack it. Uh-huh. He got in, P got to speak, and then I'll never forget the first time that I was getting ready to speak, I was so excited. Like I'm talking to him like, yo P, I'm getting ready to go. And I didn't realize at that time the mic went hot. The mic went live. So I'm sitting there talking to P, and they dubbed me. They dubbed me.
Yo, they just like, went back down.
Put him back down.
They called it the dirt. They like put him in the dirt. And I was like, wait, what just happened here? No. So then when I finally got to speak, I made the mistake of running down like
all the credentials.
The credentials.
Instead of
without getting to like the point. Yeah. And then he lectured me. And so when I was trying to stop the lecture, I was getting browbeat and lectured and then got put back in the dirt where he proceeded to lecture me some more when I couldn't even defend myself. So I said, this will never happen again. Yeah, so just know that the third time that I came in, it was over.
You was ready?
And then the next thing you know, P was a moderator. I was a moderator. Then the next thing you know, we were invited out to the mansion parties out in Atlanta. 5-star this, 5-star that. We with everybody. We in videos. We in pictures. We do like, and it was just crazy. Like we were staying in mansions where we had our own chefs.
Wow.
All day long.
All day long.
Different.
There was a different chef coming in every 8 hours.
For each meal.
Every meal there was a different chef coming in to feed us.
Once again,
we were balling.
It's all about who you know, right? So you rub elbows with somebody you never know where they can take.
Shout out to Kia Shine. I'm wearing his shirt, the autism shirt. His son, he's got a beautiful family. One of his children have autism, but Kia Shine, he's a Sony publishing rep. Okay. And he brought me out this studio. He's one of the writers for Drake's Best I Ever Had song. Okay. And numerous other hits. Like he had a whole career. He went gold early on in his career. He was responsible. What's the artist that he put on? His artist that is out. I can't think of him right now. He's big.
Well, he's from Memphis.
But he has an artist that's from Atlanta that he put on that's now doing his own thing from back in the day. He was I can't think of his name because he has songs like Lil Wayne or whatever. Gotcha. But we was out. Kia Shine pretty much like took me under his wing, had me in the studio with Neo. Like just had like we was over there chilling with IP with me. And we just was like, all types of people, major celebrity bodyguards was with us and all type of stuff. So, we just like, it was like, at that point in time, it's like when you start to understand like there's definitely levels to this and perseverance. So it was like my dedication and my perseverance because how many people is going to be on an app? I didn't go to sleep like damn near. Like I left the app on. Like if I took a nap and woke up, okay, I'm number 427. I was 927. I'll get on there. But once I cracked the algorithm, I was getting on 3-4 times a day. Oh, okay. And people was waiting forever, like, how this dude boost up again? And then as soon as they see me log in the room, every day's in the room. Mr. Every day's in the room, moderate. Now I'm moderating with the green bean. And then everybody Like I got like 1,000 people followers in like a few days.
That's what's up.
You know what I mean? So it just kept going on from there. So P and I like took a lot of momentum when everybody was like running away from the COVID. Me and him was going into it like it was a war. Like, you know, like if there's a nuclear bomb and everybody's running in the opposite direction of the bomb, me and P were running towards it. Like the day that the outbreak was really happening and everybody was running in for their life, me and him were going into the heart of New York to meet with platinum producers in their homes. You know, it allowed us to be really like work with people that normally wouldn't have worked with us. Right. Like 88 Keys, who's the right hand man for Kanye West. Like we literally been in his crib. Like he look at us like we're family. You know what I mean? Like we were just leveling up, like just one step after the next, and then we looked at each other like that, like with the cat that ate the canary, where he opens his mouth and he's smiling, trying to conceal the fact that the canary's in his teeth. That's how me and P was. Like, yo, bro, did we just pull that off? And then the next thing you know, like, boom, we're flying out to Orlando. We're at MC Search, one of the greatest white hip hop artists, old school hip hop artists of all time. We're there. He's paying for our hotel, and we flying out, and he's giving us the merch table, and we're thinking like there's gonna be a merch table. He's like, yo, bring your merch. So we bring home bake to Orlando. So we're thinking there's going to be a bunch of merch tables. No, right. We're literally on MC Search's merch table, the only table at the event.
Wow, that's crazy.
We're with Chubb Rock. We're with Special Ed. We're with all these old school dudes. And we're talking about, like, he's showing about how he tried to write a song for Rakim. And Rakim, like, they lost it. And then Rakim completed his own. Like, Rakim had writer's block and couldn't finish his album. And I think it was Leo Cohen or one of these dudes tried to submit a song from MC Search to Rakim. Like, yeah, Search wrote this song for you called Step Into the AM, which is a hit record for Third Base. Right. He wrote that for Rakim. Rakim was so offended. Like, he can't write for the God. Rakim finished his album in like 2 days. Literally after that. So he's telling the stories, all types of stories. And then after a point in time, they let us just take over their whole merch. Like we were selling their merch, our merch. People just buying merch. Then we because P's always on point. P had the iPad purchase going on. He had everything going. They can only do cash. They don't think they know how to do that. So we wound up just doing all types. So we did everything. We called all the sales for us. And it was just a great experience. So when everybody else was like going inside and running for their life, me and P was throwing the mask on and going hard.
We refused to go inside.
We refused to go inside. We refused.
But that's what you gotta do sometimes.
Absolutely.
You know? So it's been 10 years.
Yes.
So I want to know what are some things that you can do today that you don't think you were capable of doing in the past, say, 5 years?
It's a good question. As far as like in the past, I think like I had a certain level of confidence, but I still doubted what my place was. Whether I really, like there was times when I thought, should I go get a job? Because I haven't had a job in like 15 years. Like I've been an entrepreneur that long. And so, you know, I thought like, you know, maybe this is, you know, I think this is for me. I want to, like, do I need to do something else? I think now, at this stage of my life, the world is my oyster and I'm gonna crack it. And there's nothing that I can't do. I feel like I'm a carnivore in this game right now. And I'm 20 years younger, not 20 years older.
Wow. That's how you have to think though.
My spirit right now is like on fire. Like it doesn't matter the money, it doesn't matter, like I'm gonna be what I'm supposed to be regardless of anything.
Right.
I'll put things together on shoestring budgets. I do more with $10 than people do with 10 bands. Right. And it is about relationships and credibility and respect. I do more things that are just about who I know than anything. Like I get facilities, I get buildings, I get to shoot places that other people gotta pay to shoot, like because of the respect and because of my conviction and because of the belief that people have when I say it, it is so. So just now, 5 years, is that I didn't have the attitude that I can't be stopped. Now I know that's a fact. I can't be stopped. God has ordained this. Yes. Crimson and clover. Till it's over.
Let's go.
You dig?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Let's go.
So that brings me to my next question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Moguling. Like people like, you know, are you an artist or are you this? No, I'm a mogul. You know, I have my hands in every facet of the game, from publishing to management to artist production to being an artist myself, to being a producer myself. Like, I literally can make beats all day if that's what I wanted to do. I used to make beats all the time, but I'm just too busy doing other things, so I have to now bring people in. Because the thing is, when you start taking on all these hats, you can't do everything. You have to delegate. So now what's happening is that I'm building this empire that I now have to outsource to others in order for me to be able to facilitate this and get this done. Like, I can't be on the phone for 10 hours and making a beat at the same time.
Yeah.
I gotta take, like, I can't be doing analytics and writing songs all the time or making appearances here or doing this and that. So my time management has escalated 10 times fold, more so than ever before. You know, I've had to learn the value of managing my time, and then also putting the right people in position and putting them in the position to be successful, not to fail.
Right.
You got to stick to your strengths. Like, I always try to tell you, like, do what you do best and leave the rest to someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think now I'm more knowledgeable about who I should have around me.
You are the company you
And
keep.
yes, and I've been able to accomplish more with less.
Yeah.
Like, even producing 10 episodes with literally just 2 people, that's unheard of.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about from the social media, to the editing, to the vlogging, to the content, to the music. It's just me and 2 videographers here, producing 10 episodes. And then we put together a whole entire showcase involving about 50 different people.
That's so crazy. It's gonna be crazy.
So yeah, it's gonna be lit. If you didn't know, the Next Level Massacre is tomorrow. Doors open at 8 p.m. We going to 2 a.m. We got some of the best artists in the 518 performing.
And beyond.
We got my singles dropping. I'm getting ready to go into my single, actually. My singles dropping. You know, my videos dropping. The trailers dropping. We got all different types of raffles and prizes and different things going on. We got swag bags. We got merch. You know, we got drinks.
Okay, drinks on
If you're
deck.
if you're 21 and over,
Okay, drinks on
you know, the
deck.
environment is just gonna be lit. And the thing is, like, I've had a lot of artists that are involved actually thank me and tell me, like, this vibe is like no other. You know, and they feel the energy. So if you're listening, there will be no violence at a Mr. Everyday event. We don't do violence.
Oh.
That's not accepted.
No.
You will be stomped into grapes and then into wine
So you,
if you come there with the violence. Because if you don't
Violence, you will
think
get
the
violated.
team that I got in there, you do not want to play with that team. And you definitely, if you have a problem with me, now that won't be the time to address it.
No. I mean, and it's not about that, right? It's about celebrating
Yes,
artists,
absolutely.
and it's about celebrating hip hop and celebrating what you guys have accomplished over
That's
the last 10
Yes,
years.
you're right. And that's
So-
the thing. That's the whole type of time I'm on. Like,
Yeah.
we don't, like, and just typically, I don't really do, like,
We too grown.
I don't,
like,
like,
we too
I'm
grown
way too
for
grown.
that.
I'm way
Like,
too grown
and, you
for
know,
that.
it's
Way too
more
grown for
about,
nonsense.
you know, putting people on, putting yourself
Right.
on.
Plus, I'm
and-
trying to elevate you. Like, why would you?
Right.
Why would you fight
Exactly.
the plug? Like,
Exactly.
I'm trying to help you level up. And all, I could guide you. I could guide you financially. I mean, you know, plug me in volume 1. I mean, it speaks for itself. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
You know, mind the business that pays you. Come out and have fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Don't be trying to be out there with all that rah rah. This is going to be
this is gonna be it. And
It's
now
gonna be a crazy
there is a minimum donation, and it is a donation. It's not a fee.
Right.
It's a donation. It's a minimum donation because for what we're giving you, I could have charged whatever. But this is about a non-for-profit organization that does countless work here in the community.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is support this foundation that supports us.
Right.
So there is a donation. Even if you're an artist, I would expect that you'll be donating. Yes, expect. Keyword expect. That you will be donating to the cause. And, you know, there is a minimum fee. I'm not going to mention the money because it's so small of a dollar amount. I'm not even going to mention it. Like, if that's what separates you between what's going on in that building, then you really don't belong there anyway.
Listen,
You're not our kind of
I
people.
be hearing all y'all talking about how much money y'all got. It's a small donation. Just
Small
come
donation.
out.
Right,
you know,
right.
throw a couple dollars to
It's
charity.
just digits.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
just
Like,
digits.
get y'all life together.
It's just digits.
Not even about the money.
It's you know, it's some digits. It's not even
That's it.
anything that'll break you. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
No.
you've probably spent more on your 8th this week. You know what I'm saying?
So
So
it's all about a good time.
absolutely.
Coming out. But, you know, do people pass out CDs anymore?
I actually know people, like, some people do, like, CDs are considered merch now.
Yeah.
I still
CDs are
love
merch.
me a good CD.
And I still do
Like,
as well. Because I'm gonna tell you the difference between a CD, and I do have a CD, and I will be raffling off my album along with some Past Life Entertainment merch as well. But the CD thing allows you to listen to things in like consistent format, like track 1, track 2, track 3. It just keeps going.
Right.
The problem with streaming is that what streaming wants to do and Spotify wants to do is they want to say these are the most popular songs from this artist.
Right.
So you're listening. So like for my project, I have a song called Thanksgiving, and the video's dope. You know, I depict the first landing of the Pilgrims and the Indians and Native Indians, the first interaction between the Native Indians and the Pilgrims is the video. It's dope. Mr. Every Day in the Past Life, the song's called Thanksgiving. But the problem that I have is that Spotify lists that as one of the most popular songs on my album. So when people come to Spotify, the first thing they want to do is listen to Thanksgiving because it's the first song that they tell them to listen to. But I would prefer that you listen to that the second to last because that's where it's placed on the album. And if you understand the context of the album, because the album tells a story and every song is a step and a timeline of a story that's being told, you shouldn't be listening to Thanksgiving first because now you've lost the context of my entire movement and the point of what I was even doing. So you need to listen to my album from the very first song, which is called Silent Medley. That's why whenever I perform I always perform Silent Medley first because of the message, because of what it's saying. It's the way the album starts off. It's my run of the town. I'm setting the pace. Like as soon as I go in there, it takes off from there.
Right.
And so to listen to any other song, you're doing yourself a disservice. So that's the thing about the beauty of CDs, and also because there's liner notes in CDs, like you get to see who produced it.
Yeah,
and there's artwork.
That's like my favorite
That was the whole
part
thing that
of
we
the
love.
CD.
That's what I feel like this generation is missing
You
out
pull
on.
out the insert, you
Right.
read who wrote
The credits,
what,
the
you know,
publishing, all that stuff. It's
everything.
like, it's like people like producers can get their songs jacked because no one even knows because it's not in the liner notes. Like,
Right, I know.
so. You know,
I
so
was
that's
just talking about that to Lex in the other room. Like, I was looking at the CDs, and I'm like, my son would be like, "What is that? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing?"
Right? Like, what even is that?
Yeah.
They just know a picture.
Yeah,
They just know a picture right now.
But you definitely you lose the excitement too,
You
though,
do.
because like an artist will say, okay, I have a
A
project
record
dropping
out,
dropping at midnight. So the only thing that happens is okay, now at midnight, now I can stream it.
That's
when
it.
it was a CD, it was like
He was going to the
it
store.
was like it was like a Christmas gift.
Right.
Like you said, you had
Something
you had the whole
tangible.
process
Yeah.
that you were involved in. You had something that you had to physically unwrap and touch and get your hands on it and really connect with the artist. It's very hard to connect.
Right.
Yeah.
Online, online is cold. It's a cold interaction.
It is.
Right, very cold. It's not,
you could read, a personal message from the artist.
Exactly.
It was like unwrapping, like you said, a Christmas gift, and that's like the whole nostalgia of it all, right? So I'm glad you guys are still, rocking with the CDs. If you coming out tomorrow, make sure you bring your CD. Make sure you bring your promo items, your promo tools. If you don't have promo tools and you an artist, you're doing something wrong, ma'am or sir.
Doing it for real.
You're not doing it for real. So you have to have your ish together. You have at any given time, you're supposed to be able to produce something, right?
Right.
So.
Oh, we need to bring the Fubu merch in here, actually.
Oh yeah, let's
because
see.
We don't do the Fubu merch. Like, I'm not even gonna stay on live because we got other stuff going on right now. And let's get the let's make sure we're not running out of batteries and everything. Pete, you want to grab the Fubu merch?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's time
We
to
got merch.
Yeah, if you didn't know,
tell us about
our
that.
brand ambassadors for Fubu, for us, by us. One of our sponsors for the event, for the Next Level Massacre, Past Life Entertainment Group, along with Fubu in association with Fubu, presents the Next Level Massacre. And yes, we are Fubu brand ambassadors. So they sent us a whole big box of merch, and they want us to open the Fubu merch. They want us to open the Fubu merch right now. So this is what we're doing right now.
Drum roll, please.
And then after this.
Drum roll. Let's get a drum roll.
Let's go.
Let's get a drum roll.
Let's go. Pop it out. Look at the merch. Look at the merch.
All right.
So this is what we're doing. Get all that, Lexi. We need all that for our constituents. We need all that for our constituents.
Let's go.
The Next Level Massacre, Friday, May 13th. That's tomorrow, May 13th. We take it over. The 518. We in the building.
Okay.
And it's flavors.
We still going.
Oh, we ain't done.
Your arm might get tired, bro.
We in the building. We in the building.
Got the white joints, you
got
got the
the
red
We in the
brown.
joints,
building.
got the chocolate brown joints.
Come on, man. Stop playing with us out here. Stop playing with
North
us out
Carolina
here.
Blue, you know the North Carolina
see,
Blue Jordan 6s just
We
came
live
out.
right now on my every
Oh,
nose
yes,
feed,
sir.
man. Come on,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Stop playing.
I love it. I
I'm
like
saying.
the. I like
Of course,
the.
you gotta
Let
have-
me make sure I'm gonna see you at the joint.
Going.
Plus,
Shout
you
out to
gotta
my
have the
boy
black, the
CT.
basic black. Black goes with
Let me make sure I'm
everything.
gonna see you at the joint tomorrow, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, so we in the building. So Fubu brand ambassadors are in the building. Mr. Everyday and P Gutter.
It's like,
in the
it's like a
building.
bottomless hat,
I
bro.
know. He's still pulling
It's a bottomless
stuff
pick.
out.
What else is in there, bro?
Nah, we got
What
another
else is in there?
joint in here.
So listen, let me get off this live, man.
Talk,
This is
man.
episode
They
10.
definitely
Mr.
black,
Everyday.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
I'll see you at the next
Fubu
level
making
massacre.
a comeback. Okay. You know, I've always liked Fubu. I was sad that it you know kind of died down a little bit, but to see that it's resurfacing and you know, because for us by us, like it doesn't get much better than that.
Nah, not at all.
I do have something else for you though. I
Yes.
wanted to go through, and I know your fans and your listeners will be happy to do this quick little game. Okay,
Yes.
we're gonna play this. Or that.
Yeah.
You like my little
Yeah, I like
okay.
that. That's the
all
first
right.
time.
It should have been like a little cowbell.
Yeah, I know, right? I know, I needed something, you know? Okay. This or that. All right, you ready, Mr. Everyday?
I'm ready.
Okay. TikTok or YouTube?
Definitely YouTube.
Okay.
I'm getting beaten in the head already because of not being on TikTok. The Finance Army already leaving money on the table.
Listen, can somebody teach me how to do a reel or something? Because I've been trying to figure
I'm gonna
out
get into it. That's gonna be my New Year's resolution.
When you learn, teach me.
TikTok.
Okay. All right. Facebook or Instagram?
You know, I would ideally say Instagram, but for me, honestly, it's Facebook. And I'm gonna tell you why. Like, I'm able to interact with people in a way that Instagram doesn't. It's Instagram is more like cut and dry.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's like strictly business.
Right.
It's
Very
not
cut and dry.
personal at all.
But you know, Facebook, I'm allowed to like really have fun and network with people.
And
in
your
a different type of
personality
way.
comes through in the stuff that you post.
Oh,
I
so
get
I
it.
turn the music down a little bit.
Oh, okay.
The same one, the one that's up the high, yeah, all the way down. Keep going. There you go, right there. Okay.
So if you didn't hear us, we're playing this or that with Mr. Everyday. I'm sorry, the music may have been up a little bit too loud, but
that's because we're playing that record.
I know, you know what I'm saying? They it's on fire right now. All right, so you said Facebook or Instagram. You said Facebook. Okay, yes. I get that. I'm feeling you on that.
You can hear it now, Defiant.
What up, Defiant? Okay, so basketball versus football.
The funny thing about I played football. Like I went D1 to play football, so I love football. But my number one hobby is basketball.
Okay.
But if I had to choose between the two, I gotta go football because there's no season like football season. Football season shuts when the NFL's in town. Don't even call me. If you call me on Sunday, you better be calling me to tell me you coming over to watch the game. That's it. That's it.
I'm just in it for the Super Bowl Sunday food. I mean,
she said the Super Bowl Sunday food. She didn't say the whole season.
No,
just
Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah,
call me on Super Bowl Sunday. Invite me over.
The food levels up.
Yeah. I mean,
don't call when you having chips and dip. I want wings.
The wings. You know what I'm saying? Like the buffalo chicken dip. You know what I'm saying? Give me a. Okay, all right. I'm hungry.
Taco.
All right. So for real, right? Okay, Kanye or Drake?
It's gonna be a Kanye for me.
Gonna be a Kanye for you. What about you, P. Gutter?
He's already answered this question. He don't get to answer it again.
Oh, he doesn't.
I'll say Kanye again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's not gonna tell you we was with 88 Keys. That's like family to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could never look 88 Keys in the face again if we said Drake.
Yeah.
Pac or Biggie?
Pac all the way. I'm a Pac guy. I don't care what nobody thinks. Remember, I told you Matula was like in the crib. So the thing with Pac to me is there was no greater of a loss to the entertainment business than when Pac died. And the reason why I know, because I was in Harlem when this happened, and the whole everybody mourned. Like every celebrity from every walk of life called in the Hot 97 to grieve Pac. And I'll never forget it was JD Jermaine Dupri. And he said, we kind of lost like the best artist in this little thing of rap we got here. Like the way he said it, like this little hip hop thing that we got, we literally just lost the best thing we literally had. You know what I mean? Like Biggie was more like for the hood. Pac was for the people.
Yeah, he definitely was the voice of everybody.
He was the voice of a generation.
Legendary.
Biggie wasn't speaking for the generation.
Yeah.
Biggie was speaking for certain people. And shout out to Brooklyn. I got love for Brooklyn.
Yeah.
But when we have this argument, I know why y'all arguing Biggie, but there is no comparison. I mean, look at the body of works. Was a whole institution named after? There's a whole institution in California named after the Tupac Amaru Foundation. Has a whole arts exhibit, everything. Like, it's a whole thing. There's teachings being taught of Pac. There's classes dedicated to his poetry. Just his poetry.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
You know what I mean? The Rose that grew from concrete. Like,
he was just an all-around artist.
He's probably still about to release 4 more albums posthumously. Like, you know what I mean? He's working harder dead than people are working alive.
Dad, MJ or Prince?
I love Prince. But there's no comparison to MJ. There'll never be another MJ. We
Winter
could actually
or summer?
When I heard Chris Brown say that.
I like the summer, but I also like winter. If it wasn't for like the cold, I would say winter because I like dressing. No, I'm gonna tell you why. Because
winter is cold.
I love the gear though. I like wearing the gear.
Oh, you like
my winter gear is phenomenal.
Oh, okay.
Summertime, I'll throw sweats, t-shirt on. My kick game will always be crazy. Like, you see these kicks right here. Stop playing with me.
What you got on?
Oh, we got the Lucky Charm joints
right now.
We got these all tips on the way.
Stop playing with me. Come on.
I see you.
You see the ensembles?
Yeah.
Come on now.
Hey,
This is light.
I
gotta agree with him though, because I seen some the new Fubu varsity jackets they come. I can't wait till it get cold.
So wintertime, is when I really just start showing off.
That's when you about to show
I start showing off. Summertime is just hot.
It's too
hot.
It just got hot yesterday. Alright, y'all dragging it right now.
2 days of heat, right? 2 days of hot. 2 days of good hot.
I gotta fix my Freon.
You see how we
technically it's not summer yet. We said winter or summer. It's not summer
We
yet.
get a good weekend.
We complain all winter. It's too cold. We get 2 days of hot. It's too hot.
Y'all complain. I'll leave and go somewhere warm.
I know that's right.
So listen, we got to wind this down. Let's go through this real quick.
Okay.
I got my
All right. So if you could go in the past and meet one of your ancestors or to the future and meet one of your great grandchildren, which would it be? This or that?
I would go in the past. I would make sure that I got bazookas and all types of firearms and empower my people.
Okay.
That's what I would have did.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Tea. I'm a tea guy.
Henny or Mo?
Henny for sure.
More time or more money?
More time so I can make more money.
Time.
Cheating.
Okay.
Cheating.
Without internet for a week or without your phone?
Honestly, I could get more accomplished with the internet than the phone.
Okay. Lose your vision or lose your hearing?
I'm going to lose my sight and be Stevie Wonder in this biatch.
Batman or Spider-Man?
I like Spidey.
Money or love? Ooh.
I mean, I've never really done... Most of what I do is behind the love. So I'm going to have to go with love.
Okay. Would you rather make a call or text?
I would rather call.
Me too. If you had to choose being wealthy and stable for life or doing your music and struggling, what would you choose?
Music all day long. Not even a question.
Lose all the money you earned this year or lose all the memories you gained?
I've learned how to live off the land. Like fruits and vegetables and berries from trees.
Okay.
So I'll keep the cherished memories because I want to have seen my son go 7 for 7 and bat 1,000 in his first Little League game. I ain't trying to lose that.
I hit up. Be married to someone good looking that doesn't think you're attractive or be married to someone ugly that thinks you're gorgeous?
I'm with that ugly chick all day long.
You with the ugly chick?
All day long. I could dress that up. We could put outfits on her. Makeup does wonders. Makeup does wonders. I'm gonna have she's gonna have a makeup artist on. Our nanny's gonna be a makeup artist. I'm gonna have a nanny who's a makeup artist. I'm gonna actually have a different. She's gonna have a different face every single day.
I'm done with the
We're doing J-Lo today. We're doing J-Lo today.
Because I need to take her at
tomorrow's holiday.
All that matters is she thinks I'm handsome. That's all that matters.
Find some eyes. Eyes, you tell. Right, that's all that matters. That she thinks I'm handsome. That's it.
That's really that's all that's important.
Well, shout out to my boy Chris coming up next.
Save 1,000 strangers you don't know or 3 of your closest friends or family.
This is always the toughest one. I don't know how anybody answers this. I don't know how, because what if like the next genius is in that 1,000? I might have to talk to my 3 friends and be like, listen.
Okay. Guys, I'm going to have to figure this out together.
Can y'all live with me? Well, y'all live with me. Can y'all live with this? Can y'all live with this? Because I love y'all. You had a good run.
Me or not? Me or not?
We got the next one. You know, like, we got
he
somebody
knows my answer was that question. Man, I don't know them people. Right.
Get out of here.
With that said, it depends on what 3.
Okay.
Depends on what 3.
And then y'all can reproduce and make more
Absolutely.
people.
So 2 of those 3 better be female. They better all be females as far as I'm concerned. We're making 75 kids today.
This is going I don't know how we got here. Okay, last question. A long career of good music or a one-hit record?
I'm definitely a long career of good music. That's what I'm building right now. I'm really still building my legacy. Like, I feel like I just started. Like, no matter what I've done, I'm wiping my chest off and wiping brows at me off. Like, I ain't done nothing. So, yeah, I'm definitely in this for the long run. Longevity. Past life is the tortoise. My logo's the tortoise. Slow and steady wins the race. You know, the hair didn't get it done. I'm with that steady movement. You know?
Well, yeah, this is your girl, Miss E. This is the 10 year I'm so proud of everything that you've done thus far. You've been just breaking barriers left and right, and you do so much not only for your people but for your community too. So I'm super proud of you. I want to thank you for having me come in and co-host with you tonight.
Absolutely, I couldn't have done it.
Let's give it up for E.
We did it, Brooklyn.
Congratulations once again.
Harlem World, stand up. All my Harlem people. I'm going to see y'all at the 388 Parish Public Hotel, the Next Level Massacre. We out here. So we come to the conclusion of the Next Level Podcast Season 2. It was a really great season. First of all, I want to thank Lexi, Elias, my production team, all the people that supported us all throughout this season, all the great talent, the great artists that we had that supported the season, and you specifically for tuning in. But I will ask you to please like, subscribe, and share all the episodes if you haven't had a chance. Go back all the way to the first episode and watch them all again. And you know, and like I said, there's just so much information, so much talent this season, and you know, it's been a great honor to be able to service not only the 518 region, but also all the surrounding New York City, and all the way for the rest of the country. We got more artists coming from different areas and different regions. You know, it's just been one great ride, and I'm really grateful to be here, to be able to bring you 2 seasons, but definitely look forward to season 3 on its way. I'm currently in the lab cooking in the pot right now, so I'm trying to raise the stakes on the game. So just stay tuned in with me, man. It's Mr. Everyday. You know you can find me on everything: Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, as well as Past Life Radio, as you know, on YouTube, but also on Facebook and Instagram. We'll see you, man. Next Level.